Well, skin wars, hidden in plain sight, body painting, goddesses like Tyra Banks and Cardi B, to even our own Faye. What? Well, combine that with the artistry of painting some of the most iconic art installations in America, and this is somebody you want to know. Add the intrigue of growing up in Israel, and oh, by the way, he's gay, and that is what is called the trifecta. Avi Ram is one of the most interesting artists in South Florida, and we claim him here in Wilton Manors and really all over South Florida and our South Florida community. And you get to learn all about his legendary career today. Welcome, Avi Ram. And first off, I understand you're unapologetically queer.
Yes, I am, and thank you for having me.
Yes, unapologetically queer. Let's start there because I'm curious. I'm getting ready. I'm going to be traveling to Israel again this year. Let's start and talk about growing up in Israel. I understand just south of Tel Aviv. What was it like growing up in Israel?
I mean, growing up in Israel for me was amazing experience. I mean, like I have great family, great friends. I even went to the army for 3 years.
Like everyone.
Like everyone, it's a mandatory, yes. Yeah. As a gay man, I was still in the closet in Israel. I didn't feel comfortable being out. It's all happened when I moved here to Florida.
and before we come to Florida, and we're going to talk about you coming out in Florida, but in Israel's a very welcoming LGBT destination. There's been some stuff in this last year, but when you were in Israel, very welcoming. Why did you feel the need to stay in the closet?
Well, I don't think I was more like I don't know if I really understand how it's been out. I always kind of see people talking about, probably when I used to live in Israel, it was more strictly. I think parents used to be more strict about their opinions about like having a gay child. So it's almost like being fear of what my family will say.
Yeah.
So I keep it kind of quiet.
Yeah. Okay. And so you didn't get to experience, every gay person in South Florida, if there is a pride that they dream about going to, it's Tel Aviv. Right. Tel Aviv Pride is one of the great prides in the world. I'm assuming because you weren't out yet, you didn't get to Tel Aviv.
I mean, I've been in Tel Aviv. I was aware of the gay pride, but I never really went to being part of it. In real life, because I think I still was like, in high school, in the army, always busy.
Yeah. And the other thing that I think is interesting about Israel for the gay community in South Florida, we're all excited about this news that El Al, which is the national airline of Israel, formed in 1948, the same year that Israel was formed, is going to have new nonstop services between the two great gay capitals of the world, yes. Fort Lauderdale and Tel Aviv. That's really exciting, isn't it?
Yes, I actually, when I heard that for the first time, I got super excited about it because, more convenient for me to go see my family, yes, and it's just like a few minutes away.
Yes, and more convenient for us to go to Tel Aviv and right. Tel Aviv Pride. Right. Exactly. The other thing that I'm curious about is, so how old were you when you came to the United States?
I was 21.
21. And when you came to the United States, you hadn't been out yet, so your coming out experiences in America. Where did you go to? Did you come to South Florida first, or where did you go?
So when I moved from Israel, I went straight to New York. I had family in New York, and I, turned my business as an artist. Starting in New York, kind of understanding what I'm getting into, moving from Israel to the U.S. Yes. So I kind of had a little bit help from family in the beginning. Yeah. But then I didn't feel connected to New York. When I came and visit Florida, I saw how people more have freedom about their sexuality and being outside.
Yeah. So I'm reading between the lines.
Like, okay. So that's kind of what made me move to Florida.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so you come to South Florida after being in the army and not being out in Israel. I hear from many of my friends that have similar stories to this. Even the mayor of Fort Lauderdale told me this recently when he moved to South Florida, very specifically to come out and to have an authentic experience. It is an experience that often is described as being a kid in a candy shop. Was that your experience?
I don't know if it's a kid in a candy shop. I felt like I just felt like I am who I am, I felt like belong in a way. So I don't really have to hide, just being me and being comfortable. Don't have to lie to people.
Yeah. and when you came to South Florida and you had this new commitment of who you were, you never looked back. That was it.
Yeah. Something that I need to share. It's actually, I never really came out. Someone outed me.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Which was kind of very scary in the beginning, but the support that I got from my family was amazing. So it's made me feel good.
Yeah, excellent. Well, let's talk about what you're so well known for, and that is your artistry. First off, in reading a lot about you, in fairness, I knew you and knew of you before this interview. We've talked a number of times, but so many places refer to you as an airbrush artist. And that's unusual to me because I don't see that reference very often in people that have different channels of expression and different kinds of art that they prepare and do. Is that a fair, accurate term, airbrush artist? Is that something you like, embrace?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an airbrush artist. So usually when I create a piece of art, my main tool that I'm using, it's airbrush. And I never went to school for that. Everything is self-taught. And when I got introduced to it for the first time, I saw it very interesting and unique that I said, I really want to learn that.
Yeah.
And by practicing it every day for years, got me better and better. And that's what I'm known for.
Yeah.
I mean, like my business name, my social media, it's all Airbrush Hero. And that's kind of name that stuck with me.
I told somebody that I was interviewing you, and they made the comment, because we talked about this airbrush artist, airbrush hero, that you just referenced, and they made an interesting observation I hadn't thought about, in that you are like an author. Your art is expressed from hand in terms of writing almost. The airbrush is almost like writing, penmanship, etc. Do you think that that's true? That's where you really excel in your art creation?
If you mention like as a writing, like you're learning how to use it as a writing, probably, but it's a very difficult tool to use. Usually as an artist, you always have to have a balance on your hand. Like when you work with a brush, you put your hand on the table to draw. With airbrush, everything is in the air, so you don't really touch anything.
So it makes it more difficult.
It's more difficult because the control, it's more advanced.
Interesting. Well, let's talk about how you came to everyone's attention. Your career starts in America, and it was in very short order. You became one of the hottest body painting artists in this country. You get into reality television, and literally that changes everything. You competed with 12 contestants on a show that I came to late because of somebody else we'll talk about in a moment, but I really enjoyed, and that was called Skin Wars, and you were on season 2. And it was created by GSN, and it then to Netflix and to Hulu, various different inclinations. And you got all the way to the finals of Skin Wars. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But why were you attracted to competing in a reality show?
Actually, all my life I told myself, I don't want to be in a reality show. I don't want people to know my business in a way. But I felt like when I moved to Florida and I started doing the body painting, I got discovered by people, and they recommend me to the show. I never really applied to the show. And the show reached out to me and is like, who are you? Like, so many people recommend you. So I kind of sent my portfolio, which used to be very basic body painting in the beginning when I started. But I almost felt, because I was comfortable with this artistry, I said, why not? It's all about talent show. Nobody gonna film me sleeping 24 hours, So I said, why not? Let's give it a try. And when I went to audition, which I believe we been over 100 people auditioning, and we had 6 hours to do body painting and tell a story and the journey about our life, and they chose the best 12. I was one of them.
And so you entered the show. What was you know, as you know, I have a lot of experience with reality and know a lot about reality shows. What was your experience about it? Did any romantic interest? We're starving to death. We only got potato chips. You know, I just did an interview with Tammy Brown and talked about what a horrible experience it was for her. Do you have any stories like that?
Well, not love story in the show, but I do. It's a very interesting way because the filming was almost 3 months, and they took social media.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, even with breaks, it's like 2.5 months kind of thing, almost 3 months. So they took phones away, social media, no pencils allowed. So it was very strict about rules, about what we're allowed to do, what not allowed to do, what we're allowed to talk about, what we're not allowed to talk about. And
they're crafting a story and controlling all information.
They're not controlling information. Like, they will never tell you what to say, but they will tell you, don't talk to the other competitor about what you just did, because we wanted to keep it for cameras. But you know, you're not allowed to hear music for a few months, you know, because they don't want you to get inspired by music. Yeah. So it was very strictly. For me, I was okay with it because I was so used to the way they're treating you in the army.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So it's like what you can say, what you cannot say, what you need to do if you...
By the way, it's one of the reasons RuPaul girls don't do so well, because they've never been in the army.
So I think I did pretty well with that.
Yeah. So no love. Were you sequestered in the filming? Were you not allowed to come and go?
No,
you know, some reality, just it literally you're in lockdown and that's it. And
so we technically, all the artists were in the same house, and we just see people go every episode and then turning to be a small group in the same house. They do film us in the house, but pretty much they're filming us about what we're going to do for the next challenge.
Yeah. Okay. Were they very interested in your lives and the interaction?
Oh, yes. So I have a very interesting story in that show. I didn't see my family for 7 years. So talking about my family, which was kind of very emotional. Let's say I cried a lot on the on the season, and I feel like that's what made people fall in love with me, with my story and the connection that I had with my family. That got me, and my talent. I mean, like, I never really been on the bottom of the.
Yeah.
Always.
In fact, just recently, I went through and review, and you were always either you had won.
It's always won the show, right second, or second.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the other thing I'm curious about is now you say no love in the show, so you didn't pull a Willem in RuPaul and get thrown out because there is too much love. How were you embraced by contestants, producers, for being gay? I mean, it was very clear.
I mean, I wasn't out on the show.
Oh, okay.
I kept it. I felt like I didn't really want to talk about it. I was, you know, just in the. It was everything was new for me. Although I was 28 when I was on the show, but I didn't think this is the right subject I wanted to focus on the show. Yeah. So I didn't really talk about it on the show.
And these number of years later, 7, 8 years later, do you regret that decision?
I don't think so, because I still believe in privacy. You know, as a gay man, I'm not going to go on the street and say, hey, I'm gay. I like living my life.
Excuse me, on Wilton Drive, that every night.
I mean, just you going out to Wilton Manors, it's like an obvious. You don't really have to say it.
Exactly. All right. You just outed me, by the way. I'm queer. Okay. Right. One of the things that's interesting to me that I know a lot of viewers will not know, you and the show came to my attention not because of the show, but because of one of the inclinations of the spin-off. There was a version of Skin Wars that was called Skin Wars Fresh Paint. and it was hosted by RuPaul, which was interesting because that's when it came to my attention. Ru was doing this show, and then I started to watch the show because of her. You judged. What was that experience? What did you think of your interaction with RuPaul?
I mean, on Skin Wars, when RuPaul was a judge, we didn't really have much of interaction. It was all kind of like interviewing and what are you about to do and stuff like that. But on Fresh Paint, when I came as a mentor and a judge, I felt like me and RuPaul got more connected. We had more conversation, and I realized how amazing a nice person he is. So as an experience, it was an amazing.
And the experience was good for you, yeah. And what did you think? What was RuPaul's reaction to this kind of talent? Very different than drag persona. Very different than lip syncing. It's a whole different kind of thing. What was their reaction?
Actually, RuPaul keeps saying that it's this transformation that we're creating with body painting. It's identical to. Not identical, but very similar to transformation that is creating as a drag, you know? So it's almost like it was very familiar with the process.
Yeah, interesting. And it's interesting how the show came back. I was not aware of you, but we have this circle that we circle back to. Now, for anybody, I'm going to talk about this season 2 that Avi was on. If you don't want spoilers, you're going to go back and watch it now. I'll give you a moment to tune out because I'm going to spoil for you. All right, so here it goes. You make it to the finals, and you become runner-up.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was that experience like? You know, I have so many friends at RuPaul's Drag Race that were second. And it's a painful experience, it seems, for their entire lives.
So I tell you something. I was very new to body painting when I got into the show. And I told myself, I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm just going to enjoy the experience. I didn't really came to win the show. When I got to the finale, I told myself, oh my God, okay, I'm here. I should have won the show. Like, I'm on the finale.
You should have won the show.
When I got second, I don't know if I was upset. It was kind of shocking in the beginning. I was very happy for the winner. What's happened for me in a good way, it's after the show. Social media went crazy on the judges. Every comment was, Avi should have won. When you see the show, you understand. And technically, I think it's turned me into a more famous person on social media. And people were more focusing on Avi versus the winner on the show. Now, another thing that was on the show, I didn't see my family for 7 years, and the fans open GoFundMe and they raise money so I can go see my family.
Yes, and you did that.
I did, yeah. And I document everything and I post on social media.
That's a wonderful.
So
wonderful
for me, maybe I didn't win the $100,000, but I won the love of the fans, and that's for me.
That's super interesting. And also, if we're going to spoil, let's spoil it all the way. The winner was San Diego's Lana Chromium.
Yes.
Now, I want you to spill the tea. Did she pull a Bianca Del Rio and just cheat, and that's what she won? She just cheated, right?
Well, no.
Chromium's going to cheat and listen to the next words that come out of your mouth. She cheated, right?
No, she didn't cheat it. She is amazing, talented. She deserved to win. She's an amazing friend till today.
Yeah, good.
And
yada yada yada. All right, I just can't put. Apparently, I've lost my knack to be able to pull the worst parts out of you. I want to talk about some of the highlight fun things in terms of body painting. You've painted many famous bodies. I said in the introduction, Tyra Banks. My goodness, one of arguably the most beautiful women of all time. Yes. Cardi B, completely different than Tyra Banks. Right, exactly. We all know. What were those experiences like when you're painting a celebrity and body paint and what you do? What's that experience like?
Well, when I got a call to, first of all, I also body painted Rebecca Romaine, which is the host of Skin Wars, and I body painted her for the opening for the 3rd season.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
to be asked for me to body paint her and not the winner.
Yeah. You say her name, I'm thinking
Rebecca.
her husband.
Right.
And so yes, I'm right there.
Yeah.
Right.
She was the Mystique from X-Men.
Right.
That's how she's known for.
Right.
But the experience of painting famous people, it's a very unique experience. First of all, you realize how professional they are. You know, like Tyra Banks was the most calm. She was the most calm and professional. It was like probably 17 hours shoot. And for her to stay calm and not mad on anything, that was an amazing experience. With Cardi B, I was a little bit, not gonna lie, I was so scared to go and body paint Cardi B.
Why?
Because you see her on social media, so she can tell you everything on your face. So if she's not gonna like something you did,
she's going to read
she's
you
gonna
to
tell.
filth.
Yes.
Or sure.
But you know, she loved what we did. The transformation we created was amazing, she was hilarious, first of all, and she's exactly the way she show herself on TV.
Yeah.
And the experience was amazing.
Your favorite body paint personality that we might know, that of any that you've ever done in your career, is who?
Personality, like a famous person?
Yeah, somebody that we might know.
Well, I painted only 3 famous people.
Okay. And of those 3, your favorite was?
I think Cardi B was the most fun experience. And I mean, we were laughing all day.
Yeah.
And this song was hilarious because she was twerking the whole time on this video.
Yeah.
So
it makes me wonder, actually, you get to what I was thinking about. Now, you're a gay man, and you're painting and these lovely women, but you're still a gay man. Is it difficult for you to paint a woman as a gay man? Does it make any difference at all, or it's just another canvas?
No. So what I like with painting people, it's the experience of like communication. You actually learning to communicate with the piece. I don't see it as a sexual thing. A lot of people think when I do body painting, it's all about sexual, which is not. What I see when I body paint people, it's the conversation I have with them. It's the challenges that each person have a different, unique body, and it's kind of create a challenge for me, which I love that challenge. But when you paint like a wall, when you paint a canvas, in your own zone, you quiet to yourself. Some people love it, but I like to communicate with my canvas. And that's what makes it super interesting.
Well, and you've thank you for taking away one of my great fantasies, that this would be a sexual experience, and you know, I'm gonna work through that problem. I'm curious, being gay, does it create any complications for you if you have to paint male form? Is it any different at all as opposed to painting women?
No, I appreciate the body. You know, I appreciate the canvas. I don't see the difference between a male and a female when I paint the person. I see it more like as a person, you know, and there is no like, oh, that's a female, I don't want to paint females. No, there is no that. I appreciate every canvas and every curve and every shape and every age. And that's what makes my...
You believe in diversity in your body painting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, you have become very well known in a super interesting partnership that you have developed with Visit Lauderdale. And for those that don't know, Visit Lauderdale is here in South Florida, Broward County's tourism promotion organization. They have the only, and well, now not the only, but the largest LGBT promotion from Visit Lauderdale of the entire world. They allocate more than $1 million to marketing. We have more than 1.1 million LGBT people that visit Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, and Broward County. And they announced this interesting partnership with you to represent tourism through art and your painting. And the two, Visit Lauderdale and Avi Ram, created this program called Hidden in Plain Sight. And it really, frankly, is genius. It goes to a destination in Fort Lauderdale or Broward County, and you have a subject or a model and you paint them. Now, this came to my attention because you did one at Bonnet House, I believe is where the location was, of my broadcasting partner, Faye Watt. And we'll show a bit of that. She never looked better, by the way, disappearing completely. Isn't that what you told me before? Maybe that's not what you told me. But explain this project, Hidden in Plain Sight.
I love traveling around the world, and every time when I go to different destination, I like to bring my body painting into it. Actually, my first ever project, I went to Israel and I created 14 destinations all over Israel back in 2017. The only thing is, with this project, I always took pictures of the final image. And when I post it on social media, people always think, oh, that's Photoshop. People don't understand that it's the process that I went through it. Yeah. And I went to travel to the destination. I got so much challenges. I body painted a person. The journey that I have is missing over there just from photos. So I came up with an idea of like, I need to create a show when I go to different destinations and body paint people, but I film the journey because I like to inspire other people and take them with me into the journey. That way they don't say, oh, it's Photoshop.
It's not real.
It's not real. It's like all computerized. You know, today, especially with the AI, you can do anything. But now with these videos, I prove my journey and I take it to the next level. Now, also when I camouflage people into different destinations, I feel connected to the destination. Like nature, it's inspiration for me. Mm-hmm. And that's technically my dream project, is to travel the world, inspired by nature.
So you have this unique partnership with Visit Lauderdale. Tell me some of the destinations that you've done here in South Florida.
So I pitched a project to Visit Lauderdale. They love the idea of promoting destination with body painting. Originally, we came up with 5 destinations, and they fell in love with the idea even more that they chose 15 destinations. Now that I'm almost done with the 10 destination, they upped it to 15 destination. Mm-hmm. From the Everglades to the beach to Wilton Manors, Bonnet House, Hillsborough Lighthouse, the Convention Center, the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of them.
and as I say, the idea is genius because literally it's the antithesis of what you did in Israel, because you're going to a location, you're putting a subject into the scene that you're going to paint, you body paint them into the scene where they become invisible, hidden from plain sight, and in that you're showing the motion of the beauty of the scene that they're looking at in live action. So you've reverse engineered exactly what you did in Israel for the destination of tourism. So it gives people the ability to appreciate going to the gardens at Bonnet House, for example, with a live living person.
And at the same time, I also give information about the location. That way, when they come in, they kind of know a little bit more about it and know that this location existed.
Yeah, we're going to share with you how you see many of these projects that are already completed and others that are on the way with Visit Lauderdale.
The world is full of beauty and inspiration. And whether we decide to let it be or embrace it, it's up to us. I travel the world for one reason. And instead of telling you what happened, well, I thought I'll show you.
One last check-in on Hidden from Plain Sight. So Faye Watt does this. I make the point she's never looked so good because
let me tell you something. She was the most amazing person. Her personality shines so much that I enjoyed.
How much did Faye pay you?
No, I actually paid her to be my mom. But in that specific destination, we have children in town, and you do body painting, but the children even were part of this body painting, and they body painted Faye helping me creating this transformation.
Yeah.
The experience was amazing.
Yeah, and we're going to show you a bit of Faye in the interview here with Avi, because it's quite amazing. It's not until the eyes open that you realize, wait, this canvas, this living canvas, is a human being in the nature setting. One last time, to give you, again, the opportunity to spill the tea. She was a real prima donna. She was so hard to work with, right? Because that's everything I read, very hard to work with.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, you got to see Faye White in the Bonnet House.
I'm joking.
Visit Lauderdale with Avi. One of the last things I want to talk about is you have become this body painter of creating so many interesting masterpieces, but you paint a lot of things that are static image and landmark in lots and lots of places, including here in South Florida. Tell us about some of the things that you've done there in terms of paints of walls and other kinds of things that you've done.
I mean, I've been an artist all my life, you know, and it started from canvases and then moved to wall murals. And wall murals is also a passion that I have. And if you come to Wilton Manors, you're going to see a lot of my work. I do a lot of murals around town and around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And what the difference between wall murals and body painting, that wall murals will last forever on the wall. Yeah. But the body painting, it's an experience going to last forever. Mm. You know, so that's combination of art industry that I really enjoy doing.
If you had to make a choice, would one win out?
I don't think so. Well, I mean, honest, my life dream, it's my show, The Hidden in Plain Sight. Mm. This is something that I'm really focusing on, and I would love traveling, and I love body painting, and combining the two. That's that's my goal. If the murals, it's a statement. It's something that's gonna last forever. It's something that's people.
It's like a sculpture.
It's a sculpture.
They're watching. I was in recently. I was in Florence, and Michelangelo's David is going to be there forever.
Right.
So you get to appreciate the art forever. The murals, as you call them, I call them landmarks. Your mural paintings. Do you have a single favorite here in South Florida? This is Avi Ram.
I don't know if I have a favorite. I feel like every new murals, it's like my favorite. It's like, oh, I've done it. You know, it's
fresh, new, and then you move on.
And then I go to the next one, like, oh, I think that's my favorite.
Okay. Now you're gay. That's gay, Avi. And speaking of that, I want to ask you about the experience. You performed you competed in Skin Wars. You weren't out in Skin Wars. It was predominantly, mostly straight characters in Skin Wars, all 3 seasons predominantly. Does being gay have any effect on your art and influencing your art? Does it affect you at all?
I don't think so. No, I don't think. Again, I am out, but I'm also very private. I don't think I'm like through my art. I mean, yes, I body paint a lot of men, so I don't know if that's something, but I don't think it's something that's shining me. I feel like I just being myself. And I think my art is more my passion. I like using bright colors, don't get me wrong, and maybe that's something that makes me more
very gay.
gay. Yeah. But I don't think gay is something that represents me with my art.
You don't lead with your sexual orientation.
Right, because I also do body paint on a lot of females. So I don't really strict into one perspective of just male, masculine, or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm curious in watching so many of the projects that you're doing here in Florida and lots of destinations. What's next for you? This is what 2024 is going to bring, Avi Ram.
Well, right now that I know that my show, I pushed this dream for 7 years. I always tell myself, I'm going to come with this Hidden in Plain Sight show, and I'm telling myself 7 years. And 2023 is the year that I started it with Visit Lauderdale. My goal is to take over the world, you know, to really show destination in a unique way. And my goal is to really travel the world and
I suspect that there are going to be many destinations that are going to look at what you have done with Visit Lauderdale and say, I want that in Amsterdam or Vienna or wherever. I suspect that that is coming. Very interesting. If you're not following Avi Ram, why not? You've got to go to his social media. You can read all about him. You can see lots of his products. His website, airbrushhero.com, and you can see lots of details there. And you can follow him on Instagram, on X, and lots of social media at Airbrush Hero. Avi Ram, just Google it and he's going to come up in all of his social media. Congratulations to you. Very interesting for our community. Very proud of what you're doing for our community and our LGBT community.
Yeah.
Avi Ram, thank you very much for being
Thank
on
you for
Unapologetically Queer.